Good evening everyone and welcome to the 7th round of the F1 Total Esports division. My name is Enela Phoenix One. I'll be taking you through tonight's action. I'm joined by Jonathan. Welcome.
Hello, it's good to be here.
Yeah, very glad to have you. And yeah, we are at the Red Bull Ring today for the Austrian Grand Prix, the final race in the European Tour. And yeah, so also going to be our second race with a custom weather, rain coming in the race. It's going to be set to sunny, heavy rain and light rain. So that should be quite interesting to see how that plays out during the race, how that will affect the drivers. But for right now, we are in Q1 and it looks to be a bit cloudy but dry at the moment. So maybe it will rain later in qualifying. Did the drivers say anything about that? I'm not sure. I'm not seeing anyone crying about rain, I think. Yeah, so I assume this means it's dry qualifying, or maybe they just practiced rain anyway, so they're not too bothered about it. No one is crying. We have got 20 drivers for today. AMR and HRT are each serving a qualifying ban. So Jose Danitio for oh, sorry. For AMR serving the qualifying ban, he's not in the lobby yet, he will join us after qualifying. And yeah, Daniel Rente for HRT serving their qualifying ban. He is retired straight away. And yeah, the first laps coming in I think are going to be... no, actually we do have a couple of guys on the softs. Daniel for Vlogs and Morgan Edwards for RS7. Immediately out on the soft compound tire. Unai Vega for Sierra also. But yeah, mostly intermediate starters off in Q1. Of course, there's a lobby restart, so they're not going to need those intermediates in the race. And they might still need the softs they could use now for later on in the qualifying. So you're going to do a first run in Q1 to make sure your wheel works. To yeah, just get out on track, get something on the board in case maybe 5 others crash and you get it through by default, you know?
That's true.
But yes, it's going to be...
This level it's unlikely.
Yeah. But, I mean, especially at races for... I think, for example, Saudi Arabia was one where we actually didn't even have 16 people in qualifying, since there was a few qualifying bans and some teams didn't have 2 drivers available. And yeah, there you got through by default, which, well, everyone just retired immediately, which skipped straight to Q2. But there was races where we had maybe 16 drivers. Christo has been disqualified for blocking the pit lane. What? How else had that happened then? And that's Christo out of qualifying immediately. What has he done?
Do we know if he actually did something, or...?
I have no idea. I'm looking like through the chats to see if I can see anybody saying anything. The NLR chats or the Total chats, but so far nothing. Christo has been disqualified. Well, that's quite something. But well, we move on with the rest of qualifying, and it's worth mentioning, in theory, the championship can actually be decided today, I believe at least. I've not done all the math, because it is a very, very small chance, if it's possible at all. Because NLR are leading at the moment... Jesus. Let me see if I can find the notes I wrote for this. Because I actually did prepare this. For once, I went into the commentary prepare, but I forgot to open it on my phone. So let me just see where I wrote about this. There we go. So yeah, NLR lead second placed AMR by 179 points. After this race, there will be 3 more, and there will be 222 points available to be scored during those 3 rounds. with the points for qualifying for a 1-2 and the points on the race for a 1-2. So, if NLR can extend that 179 point gap to a 222 point gap to second place, that would get them the title today. To do that, they would need to gain 43 points on AMR Esports. The thing is, AMR Esports are very far from the only team who are within the window. Yeah, NLR need to gain, or need to extend that gap to 222 points over AMR, who are 179 behind, IRT, who are 191 behind, Evolution Racing, who are 192 behind, HRT, who are 199 points behind, GT10, who are 206 points behind, and then Sierra, who are 209 points behind, as well as Legacy Racing, who are 230 points behind, and Velox, who are 271 points behind. So they need to keep the gap to the last two, while also extending the gap to everybody else. So essentially, it's still mathematically completely open for every team apart from our 7, who of course joined the championship late. And NLR can mathematically, if they, but they can't all score 0 points unless they all DNF. So I'm pretty certain it's mathematically impossible unless of course they all DNF, which is just not gonna happen, is it? So yeah, I think we could, at least mathematically speaking, the championship will go to the next race. But if we're being real, if we're talking about a mathematical title decider on round 7 of a 10-round championship, I think you've lost already. Like, I think it's already over, just not mathematically.
Yeah. I don't think even Arsenal and Spurs would throw that.
I mean, I think the only
Like
way
random
really that
drivers
NLR
who
could
do
throw
this
this is if they
every day.
become the biggest terrorists and just get banned from the event. Because then, of course, they would get points deducted, they would not be allowed to race anymore, they'd probably just be disqualified from the championship, but I know my team well enough to know that that's not gonna happen. But Lars, invalidating at turn 1 there, so far, not the best of qualifying for us. Lars down in 14th with only the intermediate lap on Chrisu. Yeah, out. Oh, Jesus Christ. What's going on with me right now? Out in Q1 with the disqualification.
Do you know what kind of times we should expect to come, like, the end of Q3? If, assuming it's dry. Okay.
Low 103s, I think.
Okay.
I know Chrisu, he did a pole position lap in another team event a couple of weeks ago for us, and that was a 103.1. I know Lars was doing 103.4 in practice. I'm not sure if he improved after that a bit more. And in the chat earlier, people were also talking about low 103s, maybe a 102 if they get an absolutely perfect lap. And Lars, the same mistake as last lap, invalidating again at the first corner.
That is not what you want to be doing, especially down in 14th.
Yeah, we're only actually gonna see 2 drivers knocked out, or well, 2 more knocked out. Christopher, of course, knocked out already. Daniel serving a qualifying ban. So yeah, only 16th and 15th. Those are the only 2 positions that we're gonna lose. Oh no, 17th as well, because Nomiya, of course, is gonna move past Daniel. So yeah, with 3 cars knocked out in this session. Kieran jumps into 12th position there.
3?
Yeah, 16th, 17th. No, I was right. Jesus.
Yeah.
I was right the first time. I was being an idiot now. Yeah, since we've already lost Daniel and Chrisu, we're gonna lose 2 more, and everybody else who is left in this session will make it through. It's also very good news for us. Lumi has actually finally changed his Steam username to be Lumi instead of Little Sister.
What?
So, We've not content Esports read this season, right?
No, this is my first time.
Yeah, VEL Lumi. His name has been VEL Little Sister all season. So it's been a little bit confusing to keep track of that, because of course you're not going to be sitting here calling him Little Sister always. Yeah, so I'm glad that he's changed that to be Lumi. And he actually has done almost every race. I think he's missed one race, was replaced by another driver. But yeah, Velox have been quite consistent in their lineups. It's been Lumi and Daniel pretty much every week. Oh, Mad Dogs! Coming through the middle sector there with a massive slide. He does catch it, but the lap is firmly ruined. Yeah, he's 6 tenths down now. But a very quiet Q1. Daniel retiring in the pit lane, and Lumi as well. Both Vinox drivers with an ego retire. They think they've done enough. And they are safely into Q2.
You would think.
I'm still in the party with you, right? The stream is still going? Because the Wi-Fi on my phone is cut out.
I
it's
can
back.
hear you, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm still...
You never went for me.
Yeah, no, it's back on my phone. I mean, I got worried because I was looking up some track details, but then it said it wasn't loading. I checked my Wi-Fi and it wasn't connected, and I got scared that the stream maybe has died. But no, we're still good. Morsch jumping into first position, 103.907, and he was near the bottom of the field, so that was quite a crucial lap for him, and that should be him safely into Q2. Liam is also retired in the pit lane. So the top 4, well, P2 to P4 thinking they're safe. We'll see if Morgan is going to do another lap, I don't think so. Mafio starting a lap now, he's obviously at the moment in 14th, the slowest of the guys who did a lap on the soft compound. Lars and Thomas there in 15th and 16th did their laps on the intermediates earlier. So, Mafio down into the double left-hander of turn 6 and 7. Down to 5th gear. Sends the car in halfway over the curb on the exit. A bit of apron use as well for maximum track usage. Keeps it almost fully flat through turn 7. And now down to the last 2 corners of the lap. A bit of a lift. Down to 6th gear on the exit. And into 5th gear for the final corner. Sends the car in, but that's gonna be... No, it's not an invalidation. The game deeming it legal, and he does improve to 10th place in the end. Very surprised that was not deemed invalid. He was way over the line, but the game thinking that he has lost some time there and deeming it to be still a valid lap. Now we have Lars and Thomas on laps as well. Lars with a mistake at turn 1 again, but this time the lap stays valid. Just a bit of a slide. Certainly some time lost, but can he still make it through with that? Of course, he's going to be up massively on his previous best despite that mistake, since his previous best was done on the intermediates. Thomas and Racing Nomia also on their laps now. So the bottom 3 all pushing. Lars at the moment, of course, on the verge of being knocked out. Kieran, the slowest of the soft runners, on a lap as well. Toby on an outlap. R7 James has invalidated. And 12th position, he is very much in trouble now. The next car across the line on a hot lap is the NLR driver Lars. 1.5 seconds up, of course, in the middle sector. Massive gains on his intermediate lap time. And into the final 2 corners. Keeps it fully flat through turn 9. And into the last corner. That was really nice. Lots of curb use on the inside. That's a 1:04.068. 6th place for Lars. And that should be him probably safe. Thomas into the 9th position. Racing Numia now in 18th. He goes fastest. 1:03.839. And now it's R7 James who invalidated. And Toby who's still in the pit lane, who are out in Q1. Willow and Mafio, the 2 EVR drivers, on the verge of being knocked out as well. I think Mafio's just being pushed back into the pit lane there. Will he get out for another lap? Could be close, timing-wise. We've got 8001 starting a lap right now. Currently 8th fastest on a 1:04.106. He's going Gonna be 70,000 down in the first sector. Very aggressive turn in for the third corner. And all over the curb on the exit. That's definitely costing a bit of time there with the car being unsettled. And he abandons the lap. RS7 James, of course, on another lap on the same sort of tyre. He needs to improve on this lap. Otherwise, he will be out in Q1. Down to 5th gear, a bit of a lift into turn 6, now to turn 7. 5th gear once again. Kieran retiring in the pit lane from that 10th position. Of course, he's not going to get back out in time. Morgan Edwards staying in the pit lane in 13th, so he's very much in trouble. His teammate at the moment, RS7 James, through the final corner. DRS enabled over the line. That's a 1:04.184, 15 fastest.
That's not very safe.
Just about done enough for now. 18,000 ahead of Willow. But of course, Willow and Toby are both going to have something to say about that. Morgan is now out on track. Is he going to make the line? I don't think so. No, he's not going to make it. Surely 30 seconds to go. He's only just coming into turn 4.
Going to be tied for time.
I can't see him making that. Willow starting his lap now.
Pushing.
He needs only a small improvement to get James. 82,000 gained in the first sector. Really aggressive turn in for turn 3, and that looked very nice. Immediately back on the throttle, full throttle, very early there as well for the EVR driver. Maffio starting his lap as well now. So both EVR drivers pushing right in the end of Q1. 4,000 down in the first sector. Toby didn't make the line. Toby's out in Q1. And now it's James against Willow. One of these two will be knocked out. Everybody else is either already out in the case of Toby or safe. Willow up by just over 2/10 in the middle sector, but that turn 7 did not look perfect at all. He was very wide. Into the last 2 corners he goes, still pushing. Oh! Not a mistake. That wasn't a good third sector at all. Has he still done enough? Yes, he has. He goes 9 fastest in the end. And that is Toby and James knocked out at the end of Q1 here. Maffio holds on by the skin of his teeth. Well, he's actually still on the lap, and he does improve to 7th place. So it's Morgan Edwards who holds on by the skin of his teeth, because look at that, the gap between him and his teammates, so close. 168 for Morgan, 184 for James.
I don't know what Toby was doing. He had enough time to get out, but he just was not pushing to get to the line at all.
Yeah, that's Toby out in Q1, which really was not necessary. If he'd made a line, I'm sure he could have improved on that lap time he set. So yeah, in the first qualifying session of the day, James and Toby miss out just about. Daniel Rente, of course, serving a qualifying ban, and Anela Christo being disqualified for blocking the pit entry. So these 4 we have lost at the end of Q1. Everybody else makes it through. And look at these gaps. 3.5 tenths from James to first position. And he's out. First it's Austria. So the lap times are going to be even closer together than they usually are. But yeah, what a close grid we have here in the F1 Total Esports division. It's absolutely lovely to see.
I do have the unfortunate news. I have to go for probably about 15 minutes, if that's okay. I hope you can do Q2 yourself.
Yeah, I'll do Q2 on my own. That's fine.
And then I'll be back.
See you in a bit.
Goodbye.
So, into Q2 we go. The top 10 will be going into Q3, of course. I think we all know how the Formula 1 qualifying system works at this point. And I'm guessing most of these guys will be on used tires at the start, especially those who needed multiple runs on a soft compound in Q1. They were going to want to save at least one set for Q3 if they can. And of course, in Q3 we will also have the first points of the weekend scored. 10 points for pole, 8 points for second, 6 for a third position, and then 5 for fourth, 4 for fifth, 3 for 6th place, 2 for 7th place, 1 for 8th place, and no points for P9 and downwards in qualifying. So yeah, getting into Q3 will be quite crucial, of course, both for your starting position, which, of course, crucial in and of itself, as well as the first points of the day that you can already pick up if you get into Q3 and get then also into the top 8. Daniel, the first one starting lap, and we've got quite a big group of cars there. Right behind him, Daniel braking just after the meter board for the first corner. Doesn't take as much into the curve as maybe others would. Stays a bit wider. Maybe he's got quite a low car, and yeah, just focusing on the exit, staying off the curbs and not unsettle the car. Braking at 100 meter board for turn 3. Aggressive turn-in. A bit over the yellow assisted curb on the apex. DRS open. All-track mode used. Down the second or third DRS drift lap already. And into the fourth corner, braking at the 100 meter board once more. Onto the curb on the apex. Third gear on the exit. Back on the power. Bit more ERS used. Going through turn 5 into the sixth corner. Down to fifth gear he goes. Half throttle. And onto the apron on the exit. To open up turn 7 as much as possible. And into the last two corners now. Turn 9 and 10. Let's see. A bit of a lift should be coming up. Yep, there we go. But he's got lots of downforce because it was a very small lift. And through the last corner, halfway over the curb on the inside, take as much of the track as you can. 103.718 by Daniel, and of course that's the fastest lap time of the session so far. Thomas and Mad Dog significantly slower, so fairly certain that they won't use tires there. 104.5, 104.7. Kieran with a 104.5 as well. Marsh 104.4. We've got Liam coming up to the line, and he's gonna go second fastest, 103.946, and then Lumi beating him to second position, 103.903. At the moment, a Velox 1-2 in qualifying, but I'm fairly certain that Daniel, Lumi, and Liam are the only ones on a version of tire. I think all the guys in the 104s are probably on a used one. Or they made mistakes in the lap. Lars invalidating again. Willow, I think, has abandoned this lap. Morgan Edwards invalidating also. Oh, has he? Was he just using medium at the end of that straight? That would be interesting. Yes, yeah, okay, Willow's still going. I just got confused by his ES usage. Or maybe he was closer to the corner than I thought he was, but I thought he was using medium about halfway down that straight. Which would have been certainly quite weird. But yeah, over the line for Willow, and that's a 104.345, fifth position for the EVR man. So right behind his teammate Mafio. And now we actually have no cars out on track on hot lap at all. I think Unai Vega should start once, so we can go on board with the Sierra driver. Fifth gear through turn 1, and surely that's invalidated. Yeah, okay. That would have been an absolute scandal if the game allowed that, but yeah, he was way wide coming out of turn 1. And that's the end of his lap, before it even got going properly. So only 10 drivers actually with a valid run at the start of Q2, and yeah, that's going to be a big concern today. The track limits around the Red Bull Ring are a massive concern. I mean, even in real Formula 1, where usually the track limits are... But there's way less track limits in real life than there is on the game. But even in real life, think of, I think it was 2022, where Esteban Ocon had about, like, 30 track limit warnings, I think it was, something like that. But yeah, there was loads of invalidated lap times in qualifying for them as well. And you do see the same in league racing quite a bit, especially on this year's game. You see loads of track limit penalties, even in this high level of competition. Really only once you get to like the top level, that's where you stop seeing time penalties, mostly. Even they get a maybe like 2 or 3 a race. Or like 2 or 3 drivers getting one, not like every driver gets 2 or 3 penalties, that would be insane. So yeah, it's going to be quite a crucial factor, of course, both during this qualifying session, it already has been, with drivers invalidating lap times and having to do another one, using another set of tires, you know. But also in the race, of course, the 3-second time penalty is quite harsh, especially on a track like Austria, where I think the gaps are going to be fairly small. The rain that we're going to have might help with that, of course, since there will be no DRS for most of the race. With, of course, starting in the dry, so there will be some DRS, but once it gets wet, the DRS will be deactivated, and it will be a lot easier to drive away from people if you have a stronger pace in them. We just saw Racing Nomia go 5th fastest for AMR. Daniel retiring in the pit lane, doesn't want to do another lap. He thinks that 103.7 is enough, and I think it could be, but it is a bit early, I think, to commit to retiring, because so far very few drivers, I think, have put a lap in on a fresh left tire. Unai Vega just going into 2nd place there, 103.729. And now on board with NLR Lars van der Linden, of course the only representative of NLR at this point, with Kisu getting knocked out in Q1 disqualification for blocking the pit lane. NLR having been the dominant team so far this season, leading by almost 200 points, having won every race so far. So Lars and Chris have got a lot to live up to, and Lars on the last corner. The lap was so good until then. Yeah, 103.572. That would have been pole position, or well, P1 in Q2. Even without that corner cut in the last corner, certainly. Maybe it would have been slower than what 8001 just said, but certainly it could have gotten him through the Q3. And he's thrown away the last possible opportunity. That is very unfortunate for Lars. And he's gonna have to go again. And he's maybe just wasted another set of tires as well. Kieran with an invalidated lap. Redmere for IRT. That's a lot of understeer and he invalidates. Morgan Edwards has invalidated. But Morgan having invalidated. Willow just starting a lap there. At the moment we're losing Thomas, Kieran, Redmere, Lars and Morgan at the end of Q2. And Willow with a 47,000 gain in the first sector. Currently, of course, in 9th position. He doesn't need to improve by quite a bit if he wants to feel safe here. And I'm not so sure about that Daniel retirement because, yeah, 8001 putting in a lap time over a 10th quicker. Almost 1.5 tenths, in fact, separating them at the moment. Yeah, and I could see other drivers doing similar. And that would put Daniel into trouble. Especially coming the end of Q2, drivers will, yeah, put everything on the table that they have to get into Q3. And here we go, Willow staying in 6th gear in the final corner. And I don't think that was optimal at all. Yeah, it certainly seemed like the car was walking down a bit on the exit. Didn't gain a whole lot of time, only a 104.237. Morsch going to 2nd place, 103.671, exactly a 10th. Behind T8001. Redmere up by 7 tenths, a massive improvement from so far, but of course the previous lap only a 105.0. But it gets into the 103s, 103.981, gaining over a second, jumps into 9th position. And it's very close there. Redmere in 9th, 103.981. Lumi in 5th, 103.890. So under a 10th, separating Lumi in 5th from Redmere in 9th. Very small margins here once again at the Red Bull Ring, as we are used to in League Racing. That's Jose Danito joining for AMR. Of course he's serving their qualifying ban. So he will start from the back of the grid. At the moment I think no driver on lap. Thomas has just started one, there we go. Currently in 13th, 104.562, fairly certain that lap was set on a used tire. 44,000 gained in the first sector and so aggressive on a downshift into turn 3. I think you see quite a lot in sim racing, people just kind of spamming down the gears, which obviously would destroy a gearbox in real life, but you don't really care about that on a sim. Morsch retiring in the pit lane, he thinks he's done enough with the 103.671. 4.5 minutes to go. And we'll see if that works out for him. I think he should be fine. Although I did say Daniel wasn't safe, and he's not that far behind him. But honestly, those 40,000s, they will matter. That sort of gap can be significant on a track like Austria in an event like this, in a team event with drivers so close together. DS enabled Thomas over the line. 103.522, there we go. He's gained a full second and jumps from the slowest driver with a valid lap time to not pole position. I need to get that out of my head. It's not pole position yet, it's P1. Pole position only is a thing once you get into Q3. So everyone now in the pit lane. Tom is on his way to the pit lane. Lars just starting a lap. So he's gone out quite early. I think he wants to make sure he has enough time to do one more lap. If he does invalidate this one as well, since he has made a few invalidations already in this qualifying session. Into turn 1 he goes. Very aggressive on the curb, and that looked quite good from Lars. Maybe the exit was a bit suboptimal. He doesn't need a perfect lap. I know that in practice he was doing 0.4s, and that would be P1 here, but he doesn't need P1 yet. All he needs is to get in the top 10. So a valid lap without any major mistakes should get him there with the pace that he has. And a really aggressive turn and into turn 4. 4th gear all the way through, a bit more EAS used on the exit as well. And Lars, so far, on quite a good lap. Oh, Jesus. 44.2 middle sector by Lars. And a bit more EAS used down to the last 2 corners. Of course, right in the last corner is where he lost the first lap he did in this session. Fully flat through turn 9 and into the last corner. This time he gets it right, and Lars, I think, has done enough here. It's a 103.581, 3rd fastest, and that should be him into Q3. Morgan Edwards starting his last lap of the session now. And not nearly as much curb use through turn 1 as Lars did, but that could be a difference in setup or a difference in driving style. Or maybe he's just understeered and he missed the corner. Now I must admit, in previous games I could have told you if that's for sure a difference in setups and driving style, because I would have known for sure whether the meta is to always take that curb or if it can depend on your setup, or if like some drivers are faster cutting it, some are not. But in this game I still race somewhat, but I'm not like at a level where I can tell you everything exactly like that, unfortunately. I think I do know quite a bit about the driving still, but yeah, I do have some gaps in knowledge. If I didn't, I probably would be racing, so that's why I'm in here doing the commentary instead of out there on the track. Morgan Edwards with an invalidation, that would have been a 103.8 dead, which would have put him 7th position. And he's now got absolutely no EIS, and that is probably him out of Q2 here. He doesn't have enough fuel to do another lap, he doesn't have EIS to go for a lap now. So yeah, that's Morgan Edwards down, probably in 15th place. Racing Nomia starting his lap now. Redmere also on his lap. Kieran down 1.2 seconds, but he is gonna get one more lap in. I think he has enough fuel, 1.9 laps. And he's got the EAS recharge, so yeah, we'll have a bit of tire wear. Almost that. Ah. Okay, we're fine. Just a box dropping, a small box dropping from my table. Nothing too bad. Nothing broken. Like a game box. The box that this come in, whatever the name for that is. My English is not advanced enough for that. Yeah, Racing Nomia coming into the last 2 corners now, currently in 13th, 104.212, 103.978 by Kieran to beat to get into the top 10. But he'll want to be a bit further after that, and he does go 7th fastest. So yes, a bit of a buffer. Unai Vega there in 8th place, could be in trouble. Redmere going 9th fastest. Mad Dogs is out. Of course, so is Morgan Edwards, so is Mafio. Not sure what happened to Mafio. When did he get out? Or retire from the qualifying? Did he crash? I must have missed that completely. I'm very sorry about that. Willow coming into the last corner and over the line. 103.565. 2nd fastest for the EVR driver. And now it's Lumi against Redmere for the last spot in Q3. Redmere not doing another lap. Lumi is up by 1.5 tenths, so Redmere could be in trouble. Mad Dogs is out, Kieran is out, Mafio is out, and Morgan is out. It's all about Lumi. He is coming into the last corner, and this will decide who goes into Q3. Can Lumi bring it over the line? He was gaining by more than enough in the middle sector, and he hasn't made a massive mistake in the third sector. Should be enough for Lumi. Over the line, 6th fastest, 103.708. And Redmere is out in the end. Unai Vega with the ego retire goes through by 5 thousandths of a second. He certainly was clenching his butt cheeks there. 792 for Unai, 797 for Redmere it is in the end. So Redmere in 11th, Mad Dogs in 12th, Kieran in 13th, then Mafia in 14th, and Morgan qualifying 15th. Una Vega, Racing Nomia, Velox Daniel, Sierra, Liam, Doherty, VL Lumi into Q3, and then I could not get a top 5 in time. But we can go through those names in just a moment when we get the full result screen. And there we go. Morsch for HRT, NLR last one, and then IRT 8001, EVR Willow, and GT10 Thomas, Balcher, Thomas are into Q3. Thomas has done so many races in the Esports division, and I still have not figured out how to pronounce his last name. I've been saying Balcher. That could be correct or incorrect. No one has corrected me, so I assume either no one cares, or yeah, or it's correct. One of the two. So here we go then, the first points of the weekend, of the evening, on offer. 10 points for pole position, and that will be quite crucial. That's a lot of points for a qualifying. Of course, there is slightly more points available in the race as well. 30 points for a race win, not the usual 25. But the bigger difference actually is the points of second place, 26 points. So there's less emphasis on winning races and more on a good team result with both drivers up there. Since the drop-off in points is not like in a normal point system, it's 25 to 18, 7 points difference, and the 7 points actually means more since the maximum points are only 25. For us, it's a 4-point difference between first and second, with 30 points for first and 26 for second. So that puts more emphasis, like I said, on both drivers having a good result, rather than one driver having a really good result, and that like for example in the normal F1 point system, you can finish 3rd and 4th, and that's equal to winning a race. So yeah, so like for example, if one team has a driver finish P1 and another team finishes 3rd and 4th, that's equal in the normal point system. For us, if one driver finishes P1 and his teammate doesn't score points, another team only needs to finish, well, 5th and 6th would be 1 point ahead, and then 5th and 7th would be 1 point behind that. So yeah, that like I said, puts a bit more emphasis on both drivers having good races, rather than just one driver carrying the team completely. Which I think for a team event makes sense. But I'm sure, yeah, it's quite nice I think to have some differences like that between the different team events. Some team events have a more classical point system. Some team events go even further the other way, with maybe a system like 20 points for a win, 19 for P2, 18 for P3, and so on. And Willow down to none years, I think, abandoning his lap. Or going with Thomas, who was right behind him. Got Thomas now down into the end of sector 2. Can have. Why have the lap tracker disabled again? 44.2 middle sector by Thomas. Of course, he was the fastest driver in Q2, so he's one to look out for. Nomia, Lars and Lumi still in the pit lane. Lars only coming out now, so they're leaving it a bit late. And Thomas down to the line. The first lap of Q3 is a 103.632, and based on lap time we saw earlier, that's quite a decent banker. We have got Morsch for HT, who's invalidated, so you will not be putting a lap on him. 8001 for IRT into the last corner, and he invalidates. I could tell the moment he turned in that was way too early. Cuts the corner completely. Una Vega with an invalidation as well. And Liam also invalidated that lap. The only one at the moment with a valid lap is Thomas. I think Morsch, yeah, he's on another lap on the same set of tires though. Daniel on Nania is not pushing. So I think we're only looking at... Yep. Only looking at Morsch at the moment. Everybody else on a slow lap. And that's going to be a 44.3 middle sector. Goes a bit on the curb through turn 7. The car getting a bit unsettled. He has to correct it. That's going to cost him a little bit of time. Into the last 2 corners he goes. Bit of a lift. The tiniest of lifts. He was almost full throttle through turn 9. Into the last corner. Diaz enabled now over the line. 103.633. 1,000th of a second. Separating Thomas and Morge there at the top of the field. Well, separating the entire field. Literally 1,000th of a second. Separating everyone who is on a lap in the F Total Esports division right now. Put that on our marketing, please. That's absolutely amazing. Racing Nomia on his first lap of the session. That's a 44.2 middle sector. Lars with another invalidation. What is going on with this man? He needs to get it together already. Half throttle through turn 9, so a bit more of a lift than we saw from the other guys earlier. And he does invalidate at the last corner as well. It would have been a 103.859. Lars on another lap now. Same set of tires. He just recharged the ERS and he's going again. Because he's got plenty of time left in the session. So yeah, no need to completely waste this tire by just going back in the pit lane. 16.0 first sector. Let's quickly check how that compares. That's actually faster than Thomas by over a 10th. It's close to equal with Morge. Into turn 4 he goes. Lots of curb use on the apex there. And into the end of sector 2 we're going to be seeing... Oh, that wasn't good at all. He's well over the grass. Into the gravel on the exit. 44.6 middle sector. Yeah, that's where he's thrown away the lap there, Lars. Too early on the turn in. Into turn 6. Picking up a bit of grass. Understeering then. And into the gravel on the exit. And that's killed his lap completely. What a save. Admittedly. But lap completely ruined now. And he goes back to the pit lane. Not even going to bother to finish it. 6 minutes left to go in qualifying for Lars. And he needs to put a lot of pressure on himself of that. But we're halfway through Q3 at this point. And we've got 2 laps completed. I talked about track limits earlier. I didn't think it'd be this much of an issue. This is insanity. I've been asked for an invite by Toby, so he can get back in time for the race. So let me just quickly drop him one, and then we can get back to the qualifying. Oh, that was quick. Willow, 103.838. At least we have another lap time on the board now. He's third fastest with that. Both Velox drivers on lap trial, but Lumi isn't validated. Daniel, we'll watch him then. Right behind his teammate here. Of course, ghosting enabled, so no slipstream possible. 44.1 middle sector, which I think is faster than what we saw Thomas doing. So Daniel could be on for a provisional pole position here. If he gets a good final sector in as well. Oh, and that was a really good last corner. So close to the track limits. But on the right side of them, 103.368 from Daniel. Liam for Sierra on a lap as well now. Of course, currently in 10th, hasn't put a lap in yet. Daniel with a 368 to beat. Liam with a 44.3. It's a bit slower than Daniel, but still quite good, I think. Could be near Thomas and Morge if he gets a decent last sector here. Fully flat through turn 9, but he gets punished for it. Just taps the curb on the inside there. And the car immediately sent fully sideways. He does catch it, which is quite impressive. But of course the lap is still ruined, so you can't really buy anything from that. At least the car is still in one piece, I suppose. But there was lots of runoff, so I think he would have been fine if he spun. Unless he spins into the pit wall, I think that would have been the one way to get that car killed. And I think maybe that's what happened to Chriso. Maybe Chriso spun in the same way we just saw Liam do, and then he spun into the pit entry, stopped there, and the game just immediately retires you, or disqualifies you if you stop in the pit entry. So that's my suspicion what happened to Chriso. Won't have confirmation until Chriso tells us something, or we get a clip or something. But I suspect that that's what happened. Just seeing that made me... Oh, and I'm checking the F1 Total chats on the NLR server. And indeed, he has spun the pit lane. game thought he was blocking it, and he's been disqualified. That is rather unfortunate for Kushu, and the end of his qualifying, yeah, literally seconds in. And I know he would have had the pace to be right up there. Like I said earlier, used his time as a benchmark from another esports event. I think it was HRC a couple of weeks ago, where he did Austria, and he did a 103.1 in a short qualifying, where there's actually a bit less grip. So yeah, I know for sure Chris could have been up there. But we get to see him do a last to first challenge, and that's, well, almost last to first, since he'll be 19th, I think he was. So yeah, he will be ahead of Jose now with the qualifying ban. We've got Lars on another lap, we've got Unai Vega looming back in the pit lane, 8001, with a 15.8 first sector. So either he's got absolutely no wings on this car, or he's on an amazing lap at the moment. We'll see. What's the middle sector like? 44.0, he's on an amazing lap. That's even faster than Daniel's 103.3. IRT 8001. Half throttle through turn 9. A good last corner as well, over the line. That's a 103.411. Half a tenth of Daniel. Unai Vega into the last two corners. Currently 7th, hasn't put a lap in, 2 minutes to go. He needs this lap to be a good one, and it's going to be a 103.390. We've got Lars over the line, that's going to be a 103.582, 4 fastest for the NLR driver. And that was probably their last laps of the session. Thomas on a slow lap at the moment. I think he might have made a mistake in the first sector and abandoned the lap because he is very low on fuel. So that's Thomas done as well. 0.7 laps of fuel, not enough time to get into the pits and back out. Daniel coming out the pit lane just now. He will probably make the line in time, just about. We've got Motion, another lap, 103.633, previous best. 13 thousandths up in sector 1, 16.0. But a mistake on the exit of turn 3, and the lap is ruined. Will he get around for one more lap? Sector yellow. Oh, he's got exactly 1 minute. Yeah, he'll make it if he does a quick go around. Not like hot lap quick, but if he can't really be like going slowly to save the tires or anything. He does need to actually push a bit. Liam into the last two corners. Fully flat through turn 9, over the curb. But he invalidates at the last corner. And that's his qualifying completely done. He will not pull in a lap. 103.509, it would have been 4th position. But he will be 10th. No lap time in Q3 for Liam. Since, yeah, it also invalidated his next lap. And he doesn't have enough time to go around again. We've got Morsch on another lap. Daniel on his last lap of the session. But he invalidates at turn 1. So he will not be improving on that 103.3, but can any one of these guys who are currently still on laps make it and beat that lap? Racing Numia, 44.1, fully flat through turn 7, down to 5th gear though for a bit of engine braking, and into the last two corners he goes. Fully flat through turn 9, but that's an invalidation. Racing Numia as well with no lap time on the board in Q3. It would have been a 103.7, I think. If I saw that correctly in the top right. We've got Willow coming down into the last two corners, up by 3 and, well, almost 4 tenths in the middle sector. And he keeps it valid through the last corner. 103.398. 3rd position for Willow. Quite close there. With Unai, Daniel and Willow. Morsch invalid in the last corner. What would have been? It would have been a 3.665. Wasn't even an improvement. Lumi with a 44.0 middle sector. That's quite quick as well. And he invalidates at the last corner. And that's going to be a 103.5, I think that said for the moment. It was going up on the top right. And that's 3 drivers in Q3 without lap times. Lumi, Racing Numia and Liam. And Lumi's actually going to get points for that. Oh well, 1 point for that qualifying performance. Yeah, qualifying 8th with no lap time in Q3. Morsch in 7 on a 103.633. Didn't do a second run. Oh, well, he did do a second run, but he invalidated the lap at the end there as well. And we have Thomas in 6th position for GT10, 103.632. Lars in 5th, 103.582. 8001 for IRT in 4th, 103.411. Then Willow, 103.398 for EVR. Una Vega for Sierra with a 103.390. 22 thousandths of Daniel, who has taken pole position for Velox. 103.368. Top 4 separated by 43 thousandths. As well, Lars, Thomas, and Morsch really close there. It's about 51 thousandths from Lars to Morsch. There are 3 cars within half a tenth as well, and 4 cars within half a tenth in the top 4. And now we'll have a rubber restart, and then we can get underway for the racing. Of course, it's dry right now, but not sure if Lars put in the custom weather yet, but I'm sure he will for the lobby restart. Well, he might actually, because the start was supposed to be sunny, and this does indeed look sunny. So, we've got a couple of minutes of downtime before we can get underway. Well, we do have a race start right now, but yeah, there we go. Cars spinning around in the background can disqualify as well. I'm gonna be seeing everyone hopefully just straight line the first corner. Not really. People are using this as practice. Safety car, of course, out as we have half the field DNF'd after turn 1. That's not something you see every day in league racing. And there we go, Una Vega, full throttle into the barrier, and somehow his car has not exploded into 1,000 pieces. And there we go. Everyone's retired, took about half a lap. So, that's the end of qualifying. We can get prepared for the race now. And I think the favorite has to be Daniel with that qualifying performance. Quite a good qualifying from him. But everything we've seen so far this season has pointed towards NLR winning, considering that so far we have not even seen another team win a race. It's been NLR every single race, every single week, with the race win. Last in 5th place, he's probably NLR's main and only hope, considering Chrisu is starting in 19th place. He's got a lot of work to do to get through the field. Not sure if the rain will be helping him with that, since it's gonna maybe cause a bit more chaos, or if it's gonna hurt him, since there will be no DRS, that will make passing more difficult. But then it will also, do away with DRS trains, which that can be a big issue if you're doing a last to first. Like you take some time to get through the midfield, and by the time you're leading your train, the second, like the leading train is just gone. And especially on a track like Austria with 3 DRS zones and like essentially no corners in between, or very few corners in between, it's near on impossible, like to get back into a DRS train that you've lost. Especially like if the gap is say 1.5. You can maybe burn like all your ERS for a lap and just barely scrape in. But if it's like 3 seconds, 4 seconds, it's just, what are you gonna do? You can't make up the slow gap. You can try an undercut, of course, but then you have to like deal with the consequences of the undercut and have a worse tire for the rest of the race. And even then, it might not even work. So yeah, it's quite a big issue when you're doing last to first on a track like Austria, that you have to make sure to stay in the DRS train. But that problem is solved with the intermediate condition, or the wet conditions well, assuming it will be intermediates on F124, the full wets not used much at all on this game really, since they are, well, realistically, yeah, same as they should be in real life, they are quite useless. I do hope Jonathan is going to be back soon, because I feel a bit lonely. Doing my best to keep the stream going on my own until Jonathan is back. I think we have lost a few drivers as well. Yeah, Toby is not in right now. While we're here, I might as well just quickly double check. Yep, custom. Weather is on. Didn't want to check the AI. There we go, simulation settings. Collisions are still off. I hope Lars is on this. I assume he's doing the grid first. But yeah, we've now got every driver back in, so that's very good. I do hope Lars remembers to turn on the collisions. If he sends a ready up ping, I'll check again. Just to make sure. I don't want to have another restart. But yeah, after qualifying, I would say we have got quite an open race. I think obviously Daniel being on pole has got a good chance. Like I said, Enlav, very good track record. Thomas seemed pretty quick all throughout qualifying. Unai Vega, 8001 for IRT. Could be a very interesting race. We have, of course, got well, two drivers off the qualifying ban in Daniel Lorente and Joseda Nieto for AMR and HOT respectively. And we have Tristan who got disqualified, all at the back of the grid, and I do think the three of them could have been near, if not right at the top of qualifying as well. So keep an eye out for those three making their way through the field throughout the race. That could be quite interesting also. So yeah, we are set up for a very, very good Austria race here. Okay, collisions are on. Lars has remembered. That's perfect. And he's sent the ready up ping. There we go. We're gonna be ready for the race in just, well, a couple of moments, well, maybe a minute or so, until drivers have load onto the grid, done all the setup and strategy prep, changed the fuel load, and I can't wait to see how this rain will affect us today. Gonna be a really, really interesting race for sure, I think. Yeah, the rain, or the weather is set to start out sunny skies, then go to heavy rain, and then go back to intermediate conditions, or to light rain conditions. You've got three weather icons you can select on the custom weather screen. So yeah, Of course, there has to be like it doesn't just go sunny to heavy rain immediately within like a second. um, there is of course a crossover, so yeah, it should basically go rather quickly from sunny to light cloud to cloudy to intermediate and then to heavy rain and then slowly back from heavy rain to intermediates. So yeah, we load into the race and it's completely sunny skies here in Austria, but that is going to change. At the halfway point in the race, it should be completely full wet and then get back to intermediates about, I don't know, nearing the end of the race, for sure. I'm not really too sure how the three weather icons work. But I suppose the middle one at least should be halfway through. It's only my second race actually really using custom weather. I've never really played around with that before. We decided to use it for the F1 Total Esports division to spice up the last race of each tour, and I think in Saudi Arabia it was quite fun, and I do think it'll be fun as well today here at Austria. So, drivers loading up on the setups, getting the strategy set up, and the fuel loads, getting mentally prepared for the race, and then we can get underway for the Austrian Grand Prix. Of course, there will be some DRS for the first few laps, and then I would guess around lap 10 maybe is when the rain will start, maybe earlier. I think we'll get a good indication of that based on the tires people go for. If we see softs or mediums, I don't think anyone's gonna go for hards. The rain should come early enough for mediums easily, especially considering the mediums last for a very, very long time around here. I think about 2/3 of a race, if not more. The mediums can last around Austria. And the softs about 10. A hard can last easily a whole race. But there we go. 5 red lights for the Austrian Grand Prix in the F1 Total Esports division. Daniel on pole position with Unai Vega next to him on the left-hand side. And Daniel gets away really well. Safely into turn 1. Unai Vega defending from Willow on the outside. Breaks late on him though and keeps second place. Willow and 8001 somewhat battling out of turn 1. But Willow does look safe. Last having a look at the IRT driver into turn 3. In the background though, we've got Lumi and Morge. Lumi sending it on the brakes, gets past Thomas as well. Bit of contact made, Thomas ghosting there. Lumi does get past him, I think Morge as well with a better exit. Gets past the GT10 driver with the ghosting system. Daniel holding the lead down to turn 4 still. We've got 8001 at Lars, side by side. Lars trying to hang it around the outside. Lars opting for the soft compound there. But mostly mediums. It's Kieran, Toby, Lars on the softs. Everybody else from the mediums. Lars dipping a tire into the gravel there as well. So I'm guessing the rain is not predicted to come that early. We're gonna have a bit of a dry phase to begin, but for sure it will come. And a gamble from Lars, Kieran and Toby that it will come early enough that the soft is the tire to be on at the start of the race. Now DRS is enabled and Daniel's gonna be under big pressure with, well, the entire field chasing him down up the hill into turn 3. Oh, and Jonathan has left the party. I hope he can get back at some point during the race, but if not, I will do my best to still, yeah, pull in the show on my own. Lars has gone way off at turn 3, and he rejoins the race in 7th position, side by side with Thomas. Has got a better run to turn 4 at least. What is he just done at turn 3? How has he even ended up that far off the track? And loads of battles going on. Joseda with the qualifying man already up to 14th and side by side with Redmond, but he does back out there. He has done a very good job to come back from the field. And same goes for Daniel. Thomas with a 3-second time penalty already on lap 2 of the race. That is really not helping him in this Grand Prix. Yeah, Joseda and Daniel already up to 14th and 15th, starting in 19th and 20th with the qualifying bans. Fastest lap from Lumi, and a 10-second penalty for Kieran for speeding the pit lane, and he retires from the race. 3 laps into the race before the rain has even come down. So much chaos still left to happen, and he just decides this race is over. Unai Vega now up the inside of Daniel into turn 3. And I think he has gotten DRS for the next straight as well, has he? No, Daniel got it. And that is allowing Daniel to, leave the Sierra driver in the dust. Willow and 8001 both going for it. 3 wide at turn 4. Willow coming out on top against Unai. 8001 still in 4th place. And we have got a break in the train. There's already a top 6 getting away from Thomas, who's lost DRS to Morsch. So 3-second time penalty, lost DRS to the top 5. The race not going well for Thomas so far. But going very well for Daniel. Still holding on to the lead. 3 laps in. Starting lap 4 now. Willow, of course, all over the back of him. And he's going to be looking for a move. Or is he? I mean, of course, sitting in 2nd place can help him as well. Just having the DRS on Daniel. Defending against Unai behind. And now we have it. Lumi with a move for 4th place. Coming up the hill into turn 3. He's got the inside line. He's well ahead, and I should have a better exit as well. No, they are still side by side. And up ahead as well, we've got Unai and Willow side by side. And there's a winglet flying. I think that was... I'm not sure whose that was. Daniel down to 3rd place there. Willow taking the lead. Lumi getting past him as well. But whose wing just flew off? It looked like a Haas wing, but I'm not sure how Willow would have lost his wing. I know his wing is fine. Let's see. Daniel has a wing. Lumi has a wing. Daniel has a wing. Was it 8001's? Not getting a good camera angle for... Yeah, yes! The front right end plate on that Red Bull is missing. And the IRT driver, with a massive blow to his chances of winning this race. Especially in the rain, that understeer is going to really hurt him. Lars and Liam have gotten past Thomas. I think these guys are going to have to try and work together a bit to get back into the leading train here. Morgan and Racing Nomia side by side through turn 1. And look at that. Jose Daniete up into 11th already. And we've got a 3-wide situation in behind. So much going on here in the opening phases of the Austrian Grand Prix. It's Daniel and Mad Dogs battling over 12th. Bit of contact made on the exit. Mad Dogs going off to the grass, and he rejoins in 17th position at the back of the straight. Look at this. Mafio, Krisu and Racing Nomia locked in the battle here. Racing Nomia moving around the outside of Mafio and up to the 16th. Lars has gotten back into the DRS of Liam. He's making good use of those soft compound tires. And there's the rain. The rain already coming down on lap 5. That's quite early. And that's definitely played into the cards of the guys who start on softs. But, well, Toby still at 18th. Lars actually has lost DRS in the top 7 again. And Kieran retired. So actually the soft runners... The rain went their way, but the race certainly did not. 8001 with the wing damage has lost DRS in the top 4. And he's now got both Sierra drivers all over him. Meanwhile, Willow has got both Velox drivers all over him. With the rain coming down now, they know that the DRS will not be open for much longer. They might need to use this chance while they have it. Lumi has gotten past Daniel. Also under braking, but Lumi has gone off there. Rejoined, still the lead. And Daniel in 2nd place now. Willow, though, trying to come back at him. Doesn't seem to have the ES he needs. He's derating. You saw the red flashing light. Morsch looking for a move. But he's locked in by Daniel. And now Daniel and Willow side by side on the exit of turn 4. Willow on the inside line into the next 2 corners. That should be an advantage for him unless Daniel can pull off a beautiful move around the outside. They're still side by side into turn 7. But I think Willow has now taken his chance, has he? Yes, Willow reclaims 2nd place against Daniel. But he's got quite a big gap. And Willow is already into the pit lane, I think. Yes! Willow pitting at the end of lap 6. And the same goes for Lumi and Morsch. They think the rain is too heavy to stay out, and we've got quite a few guys pitting already. I'm not sure if that was the right call. It does seem a little bit early. I would have gone for another lap or 2. Of course, there is the risk of double stacking, so you don't, if it's like starts pissing it down throughout lap 7, and then both your drivers need to pit, that can put you in big trouble. Lumi coming out as the first of the intermediate runners. The top 7 stayed out. Everybody else, well, the current top 7 stayed out. Everybody else into the pits. Oh, and Lars! Lars is off! No, that was Chriso. Chriso's off. Got the wrong Eladra, but nonetheless, Chriso with a spin coming out of turn 3. The rain catching him out. DRS disabled. So maybe it was the right call to pit a lap earlier than the guys who were still staying out. Chriso trying to defend from Lumi now. Quite aggressively, and he puts him into the gravel. And that's Lumi from the lead of the race, getting taken out by a driver who just spun on a dry compound on the wet track, and he's going to be really annoyed with that. He's also got massive wing damage there. Well, not massive, but yeah, he's missing the front end plate. That's Lumi's race completely ruined, and the same goes for Chriso. So say that, and Lars side by side for the pit entry. Oh my goodness me. Lars looking for a move, even as he's breaking for the pit lane. And now we can see, Daniel, of course, was in the battle for the lead with Willow and Lumi. Willow, of course, Lumi with the crash with Chriso there. It's not going to be anywhere near, but Daniel has lost loads of time. So, yeah, the guys that pitted on lap 7 were right, and I was wrong to doubt them. 8001 retiring in the pit lane, I think, yes. Second retiree of the race. Numia has come out on hard compound tires. What? Has he just forgotten to change the tire selection? I can only assume that's what happened. As Morsch goes for a move on Willow for the lead of the race. EVR against HRT. And Morsch has taken lead of him. Lumi getting past Unai Vega. Lumi with the big damage still holding on to 5th place. He's got Morgan Edwards ahead of him now in 4th. Who has jumped up quite a few places with the, well, the strategy call that he made. Daniel a bit further back from Morgan with a 1 lap tire advantage, but that is, well, fairly minor. Soon Numia is going to be into the pit lane of this lap, but his race also completely ruined. Had to do a lap on a hard tire, also a cold hard tire as he came out the pit lane in the wet, and well, now needs to do another pit stop to get onto the intermediate, and he's going to be miles away from the field. He is, well, yeah, and needs a safety car to get any sort of chance to get back into this race. And even then, of course, he has a lot of work to do overtaking cars, as he will be quite literally dead last. Toby and Daniel Lorente side by side down towards the 4th corner here. Toby seems to have selected an advantage. Can Daniel send it back up the inside? He's trying. And I think on the exit, Toby has got the advantage in grip. Daniel is just about... Oh, what a send by Daniel! And yeah, that was never going to work, obviously. Mad Dogs and Mafia side by side, in behind. Mad Dogs moving around the outside of the EVR driver. But what was that from Daniel? Surely he knew that move was never gonna work. Why has he tried that? He has gotten very lucky that Toby saw him in time and could, yeah, leave him the space that Daniel was not entitled to realistically. Otherwise it could have ended with both of them in the gravel, so good awareness by Toby there. To, yeah, despite the fact that Daniel was very much not deserving of that space, going for a move way too late. Yeah, still missing the apex intentionally to leave a little bit of space for Daniel, and still Daniel made contact with the legacy race endeavor. Liam and Unai moving, battling for 6th place there, or Unai letting his teammate past, either way. Liam up into 6th place, and I think, yeah, Unai has some wing damage, so odds are that was a team order by Sierra to get the driver with a functioning front wing in front and chasing Lumi for 5th place. So of course, doesn't have a... Yeah, he also has wing damage. So Lumi doing a very good job there. He's all over the back of Morgan, despite the damage. I think Daniel is closing in on Willow and Mort slowly. So despite the fact he pinned the lap too late, this race is far from over for him. Because the DRS not being activated anymore really helps him right now, since otherwise Willow and Mort will be gaining on him every single straight. Daniel with a run on Toby into turn 9. And that's quite a risky move by Daniel once again. This time he was significantly alongside though, and he's pulled it off. A very nice move by Daniel. And he claims 8th place from Toby. So either he's just burned a lot of ERS coming out of turn 7 through turn 8 and into turn 9. Or he's just got very low wings compared to Toby. But yeah, what a move by Daniel to pull that one off. Lot of confidence. Hoseda Nieto for AMR with a 3-second time penalty there, running in 16th. If we look at the penalties, it's 10 for Chrisu, 6 for Unai, and then 3 for Thomas, Redmere and Hoseda. Battle at the front of the field, Morge leading from Willow. 2 and a bit seconds to Daniel, who's dropped it back a little bit earlier once again. He was about 3 seconds back coming to the pit lane, was 2 seconds last lap, now it's 2.3. But we've still got 25 laps to go for Daniel to try and catch those guys at the front. And he does seem pretty quick right now. Morgan doing a very good job of holding on to 4th place. He's got lots of cars pressing him behind. That's Liam and Lumi very close behind him. And I do think Liam has got even more pace than Lumi does. Unai into the pit lane on lap 12. And he speeds into the pits and I think he's going to retire. Yeah. Retiring from, what was he, 6th place? That's just, yeah. If I was a Sierra driver or manager, I'd be very annoyed with that. Either as a driver, seeing that he's taken my spot, or as a manager, just, yeah, that my driver throws away what could have been a good points haul like that. Yeah, Unai from a very good position in this race. A bit of wing damage, some time penalties for him as well, so it was a tough race. It was going to be a tough race for him nonetheless. But he was running up in 6th or 7th place, I believe it was. And to retire, especially so early in the race, well, probably would have been even worse if it was near the end when he was in a position like that. Oh well, unless he had an emergency come up, which I suppose would be a very good excuse. But yeah, if that was just a wage quit, I would be very annoyed with that. If I was a Sierra manager, I can't lie. Or a Sierra driver, or just a Sierra fan, whatever. In any way associated with Sierra. But, well, that is their issue, I suppose, or his issue. But that is certainly not something you want to see from a driver. Liam with a good run. Coming out of turn 1, up the hill into turn 3. Can he get a move on Lumi? Lumi covers the inside, Liam has a look to the outside, but he's not quite got the brake he needs to try to switch back on the exit. But Lumi also with good traction. But Liam is so close behind the Velox driver. He needs to find a way around him, because he's definitely losing time. And he's got good pace. He could try and get Lumi and Morgan, then maybe chase after the podium. Still lots of time left in this Grand Prix. Meanwhile, with the battle forming for the back end of the top 10, Mad Dogs and Mafia pretty close together, with Lars and Thomas in behind chasing them. Of course, not the last points paying position, that is down in P15. Points going to 15th position in the F Total Esports division. So yeah, right now everyone down to Roseda scoring points. Chriso and Racing Nomi are the only ones in the running without points at the moment. Willow is not really looking to make a move on Morge, but he's staying close, so if the HRT driver makes any sort of mistake, Willow is right there. Just not quite seems to have the pace to make the overtake. Mafio though, he has the pace to make the overtake on Mad Dogs, up the inside into turn 3. Under braking, a bit of a knock up on the front right, but gets the car stopped in the end and moves up into 9th. Mad Dogs though is going to try and come back at him. Around the outside into turn 4. Is that possible for a GT10 driver? It's not quite. Mafio in the end with a bit more straight line speed. Come the end of the straight, maybe a bit more ERS left for him, and Mad Dogs may be running out. But Lars having to defend from the other GT10 driver. Thomas having a look up the inside in turn 7, but he makes a bit of a mistake there. Goes wide. And Lars once again has a bit more breathing room. Lumi getting past Morgan, who's been dropped by both Lumi and Liam. So he must have made a mistake there for sure, to drop from 4th to 6th. Especially at a power track like that. And that's, well, Morgan, not enough world for him, but he's lost 2 places, which definitely, especially in conditions like these, hurts a lot more than the dry. The dry could just kind of use the next DRS to get those back. In the wet, it's much harder to get those positions back that he's just lost. And Willow Looking for a move on Morsch. He's made a bit of an error on the exit though. The rain is coming down quite heavily now. I think we are definitely getting towards the heavy rain phase of this this race. It's Lars getting past Mad Dog as well. He's moving up to 10th. And at the moment we're close to the halfway point in the race. And it very much looks like the streak that NLR has is finally coming to an end here. 6 race wins for NLR so far this season in 6 races. 7th race in Austria at the moment. Lars running in 10th, Christoph running in 16th. This is not going well for NLR. But considering the points gap that they have, which is almost 200 points second place, I think they can afford one bad race. I'm not sure why I'm saying they, it's us. I also am, well, I'm the NLR development manager. It's literally my team. Or my part of the team, I suppose. Mad Dog's into the pit lane. And Willow with a run on Morsch for the lead of the race. He's going to the outside line into turn 3. Morsch backs out on it and Willow reclaims the lead. But Daniel is moving ever closer. Liam with a move on Lumi now around the outside into turn 3. Has he got the speed on the exit? And that's Mad Dogs and Redmere onto full wet tires. Not something you see quite often on F124, but the rain seems to have gotten intense enough that it's viable. And Joseda also, and Racing Nomi out in the pits, I assume, also for full wets. Not, yeah, like I said, not something you see quite often. Usually, the full wet, when you get conditions like these, is good for about 5 or 6 laps, and then you've driven, like, too much of a dry line for the full wet to really work. So we'll see how that goes for them. Keep an eye on Mad Dogs. Liam losing in place with Daniel there, who is having an absolutely amazing race. Of course, he served the qualifying ban. I think he started in 18th in the end, since Chris got disqualified in qualifying, and he was in the lobby for it. So he was ahead of him. And then Joseda started in last place. Position change there. He's up 11th, so he started 17th actually. Not sure how that works. But either way, absolutely amazing race. From the qualifying ban up into 6th, and now staring at the back of Morgan and Lumi, who are battling over 4th here side by side through turn 3. And a bad exit for Morgan might open the door for Daniel if he gets a good run. But he's squirming all over the place. The rain coming down so heavily, but now using a good bit of overtake mode. Down to turn 4, the HRT driver gets the position. Morgan trying a switchback though to make a bit of contact there, bumping side pods. And Morgan gets back ahead of Daniel, who does send it back in there. So late in the brakes, a bit of contact made. Morgan saves it. What a save by Morgan. But nonetheless, that's Daniel moving past the RS7 driver. And Daniel's next target is Lumi. Daniel has now caught the 2 leaders. And look at the exit he's had out of the last corner. Has he ever run to turn 1? Morsch covers it off. Liam and Morgan side by side from the last corner. Not a place you usually see battles. Maddox has already gained a second on James, so it does seem like the full wet is working for the moment at least. But for how long? They are of course going to have to make another pit stop back onto the intermediates. And Daniel now to the outside, as Daniel is making a move on Morsch. I have to watch this for second position. Morsch sliding all over the place out of turn 3. Now Daniel and Lumi coming out of turn 3 side by side as well. Daniel on the outside gets a better exit. Oh, but Lumi, they make a bit of contact down the straight, and that almost sent Lumi into the wall and out of the race. As they locked... Oh, and Lumi goes in the back of him now as well. This is really not going well for him, and now Morgan has a very good run out of turn 4 to get past the Velox man. Lumi is completely out of EAS, as you can see on the steering wheel. And he makes loads of contact with Morgan, and does get back past him that way. Morgan trying to move around the outside, using Lumi's wing damage to his advantage, but he loses a bit of traction as well. And that's costing the position. Liam now with maybe a run into the last corners. No. 6 seconds the gap now from 4th to 3rd. So the podium, yeah, moving quite far away from the rest of the field as they are battling really heavily over these positions. And now look at Liam into turn 1. Not a place you usually see overtakes, but he has pulled off against Morgan. Trissa with a 3-second time penalty. Morgan has a good run out of the corner, but he does just run into the back of Liam. Loses his momentum. Daniel now with a move for the lead on Willow. What a comeback from Daniel. He pitted a lap too late. Came out 3 seconds behind these guys. And there he is, back in the lead. He's gotten past Mort, he's gotten past Willow, and I kind of missed both of it, which I do apologize for. But Daniel has pulled it off, and he's back in the lead of the race. As we are just over the halfway point of the race. But I think we do still have time for one more twist in this race. There is going to be one more pit stop, I think. I don't think these Inters can make it to the end of the race. Of course, we are going to go back from full wet to intermediate conditions later. And the full wets do seem to be faster right now, but it's not like they are absolutely flying. They've made an extra pit stop, and they're going to have to pit back to the intermediates when it does go back to light rain. So I'm not sure that this strategy call is going to work out too well for them. They would have to be gaining a lot more time than they are gaining right now. But a battle forming for 8th place here, as Lars seems to have the pace over Toby. But is he going to find a way around the Legacy Racing driver? We also have a battle for the race win still. Willow is staying with Daniel. Liam with a run on Lumi for 5th here. And he's going to take the inside line into turn 3, of course. Lumi with a bit of damage is very much vulnerable. Side by side through the braking. But Lumi on the outside. He's got a dry line on the exit as well. And he uses that to his advantage. Liam needs to have another go to turn 4. Moving out of slipstream. Under brakes. Can he get the car stopped in time? He can. Makes it to the apex first. Very nice move. And now he has a bit of the dry line there as well on the inside. Now to the outside for turn 7. Can he move around the outside? He cannot. He tries a switchback though. Is that possible for him? Not quite. So the switchback line is off the dry line. You could tell he didn't quite have the traction he needed to get around him that way. In the meantime, while all this was going on, Lars has moved past Toby. It's now a 3-second gap between him and Morgan as he continues his way through the field. Mort just lost contact with Willow and Daniel. It seems like Willow has found a little bit more pace now that Daniel has gotten ahead of him. Might just be copying his lines a bit, maybe. Morgan and Toby into the pit lane. 15 laps to go. They did 14 laps on this tire, so it could just be, yep, a strategical pit stop from Inters to a freshen of Inters. Getting an undercut on everybody else. They are not going to full wets like Mad Dogs, Redmere, Joseda, Racing Nomia and Chriso were. And Lumi now has been passed by Liam, finally. Didn't have the EAS to defend there, it seems. And Willow is staying all over the back of Daniel. We're going to be seeing this battle for quite a while, I think, still. But Daniel is closing in at a rate of knots. That gap was 6 seconds earlier, now it's 3.7. Daniel has got absolutely amazing pace right now. As we go through the field. We've got Thomas on the back of Mafio here. Lumi has just been overtaken by Liam. Of course, we do have the guys on the full wets still to look out for. Mort is now in the pit lane, and that could be something to look out for Daniel and Willow. He wasn't too far back from them, about 2 seconds behind Willow. Mort and Lumi both in the pits for a fresh hit of Inters, I assume. Since the rain is lessening again, I think. And yeah, the guys in the full wets are not really gaining as much time as they used to. I think Toby's actually faster than Mad Dogs right now on the fresh Inters. And a wing change for Lumi. So he wants the end plate back rather than having a track position. James into the pits for a freshen of Inters as well. And Lumi is going to come out behind Toby here. Undercut working well for Toby. And there comes James out the pit lane. Side by side with... oh no, not side by side, but just ahead of Roseda, just behind Redmere. Lumi and Toby very close together as well there. And Thomas has closed in even more now to Mafio for 6th place. And as I look up the inside, whoa, what a risky move. But he's pulled it off because Mafio got spooked and went off into the wet line, but Thomas has made a mistake on the exit and Mafio's back ahead. What a weird battle that was. And still, the leaders are not pitting. Are they going to try and make it to the end? Because at this point, surely they have to respond to Willow's undercut. To Mort's undercut, I should say. who of course is in completely clean air. The next car ahead of him is 2.5 seconds ahead with Thomas there, who's in the back of Maffio. And he is gaining so much time. Look at this. Gap to leader, if we have a quick look at that, down to 20.1. Let's just watch that gap for a little bit and just see it come down, I think. It's going to come down very quickly, of course. It's a 15 lap tire advantage on the same compound, so it only makes sense that he'll be significantly faster. And of course, in the rain, you are much more reliant on tire grip than you are than you would be in the dry. Oh, Willow! Oh, almost threw the car away there. And yeah, like I said, the gap has come down quite quickly already. It's 19.7 now, so he's gained 4/10 in those couple of corners. So I think we are going to be seeing Mort gaining a good bit of time on Daniel and Willow. 13 laps to go. Can the intermediate go that long? That'll be, yeah, 28 lap stint for Daniel and a 29 lap stint for Willow. I doubt if the intermediate can go that long. But they know how much tire wear they have, and it's a fairly simple calculation. When you're halfway through the stint, just times 2 your tire wear, and then you will know if the tire can make it. And if it's above 75%, you're risking a puncture. If it's above 100, you know it's not going to work. But even if you reach, say, 80-85%, you're going to lose so much time. The tire will slow you down so much with that. And yeah, Chris on the full wet there. He's about to be lapped. Despite he's got fresher tires than Daniel and Willow. And still, these guys on the intermediates, on the old intermediates, are faster. So yeah, it's about time, I think, the guys in the full wets go back to the intermediates, because there we have, as well, Toby getting past Mad Dogs. Morge on the back of Thomas there, quite crucial as well, in the battle for the race win now, because Morge has got a massive undercut now. It's still not being responded to by Daniel and Willow. But they should know he's pitted. Of course, they can't see him on the top left of their screen. They can see down to P5 with Lars van der Linden there in 5th position. Willow has finally come into the pits to respond to that undercut. Lumi looking for a move on Mad Dogs, and look at the speed that he has through the corner there. Mad Dogs, no chance. The full wet, not the correct tire to be on anymore. Willow and Liam in for fresh intermediates. And now we can see how well this undercut has worked. Morge, of course, running into a bit of traffic with Thomas and now Maffio. But still, Ratner with a fixed time penalty as well. Still, he's going to be way ahead of Willow, I think. Not way ahead at all. He is literally right in front. And Willow's going to have 3 lap tire advantage. Daniel, if he pits this lap, he might even end out ahead. Maffio, of course, is a big factor in this. But look at the send from Morge into turn 3. What a move, and he's pulled it off. Using the tire advantage he has to, well, his advantage. Maffio does have a good exit on the outside there. But I think Morge with the inside line is going to have the traction to outbrake him once again. And this time completes the move, and now Maffio goes way wide, and that's Willow pass. But yeah, I think Maffio... Oh no! Willow has let his teammate back through. He had gotten legal overtake since he passed him off track, and now Maffio can let him past. Thomas almost sneaking through as well there. That was, well, not well executed by Willow. His teammate letting him through, and he just drives off the track there, I think, on the apex. Chris retiring in the pit lane, and yeah, him being lapped, I think that's fair enough. He was not going to get anything from this race, unfortunately. Even the safety car couldn't have saved him at this point. Thomas now with a 3-second time penalty, another one. And we're looking at a battle for the lead here. Daniel has still not responded. If we have a look at the gap to leader, 18.9, yeah, Morge is easily within the pit window. And at this point he can see Morge and Willow on the fresh intermediates on his top left. They're 4th and 5th, and you can see how much they're gaining. Can he make it another 10 laps on this tire? I mean, these guys, if he does make it to the end, they have to gain almost 2 seconds a lap on him. And it's a very short track, so it might be possible for Danny to just kind of hang on those old tires. But it's a very, very long stint at 28 laps on his intermediates. With a full wet portion as well in the middle of it, which probably caused a bit more tire wear on those intermediates as well, since the guys would have been sliding a lot more than they usually would. And that, of course, does cause more tire wear. Mad Dogs is still running on the full wet here. Still not gone back to intermediate. I think at this point he's kind of hoping for a safety car to bail him out. But so far, we have not seen really Yes, Numia is being lapped by Daniel, unlapping himself against Daniel, I think, yeah. We've not actually seen... Well, we have seen people spin on their own, but we've not seen anyone, like, go into a barrier on their own and be, like, anywhere close to causing safety car. All the retirements we've had, Trisu, Unai, A001, and Kieran, I think in the pit lane. Oh, Willow with a move on Morge, and he barges into him into turn 3. Couldn't get the car stopped, locked up a bit. Thankfully for him, no wing damage on the car. But Morge does hold on to the place. 4th position for the HRT driver still. And yeah, Willow not able to get around him. Thomas is still staring at the back of another car here. This time it's Morgan Edwards, who probably just passed him actually. Morgan on the fresh intermediates, making his way through the field. And yeah, we've got quite a few guys who are on, like, yeah, from P9 and downwards, everyone on the fresh intermediates, and then we've got Morge, Willow and Morgan as well, a bit further up ahead. And at this point I'm fairly certain, we've only got 8 laps to go, it's way too late to pit. So yeah, Daniel and Daniel in 1st and 2nd, and then Lars in 3rd, as well as Mafia in 6th and Thomas in 8th, I think are all trying to go to the end on these old tyres. And you can see the difference there in grip, as Morgan absolutely leaves Mafia in the dust. I would love to know the tyre wear on those tyres, but unfortunately I can only see the laps and sort of imagine how much tyre wear they must have. Jose there with another time penalty, and Willow finally gets past Morge now around the outside into turn 3. He takes the lead of these guys who made a pit stop. And he moves up into 4th place on track. 5 seconds between himself and Lars. 8 laps to go. The gap to leader, let's have a quick look at that. It's down to 18.2. He's not even gaining that much on Daniel. It was about 20 seconds at some point between Morge and Daniel, I think, before Willow pit. Now it's 18. He needs to gain 18 seconds in 8 laps. That's just not on. Unless Daniel is close to puncture territory, in which case, what sort of pace must he be on to not really lose much time to these guys on fresh intermediates? I think Daniel's gonna bring this home quite easily. And the same goes for Daniel Lorente in 2nd place. Lars, of course, he is a lot closer to Willow and Morge. He has got a big gap up ahead of him. Morge and Willow are going to be chasing Lars for 3rd place. I doubt they can even get Daniel Lorente in 2nd place. The fresh intermediates, I thought they'd do a lot more good for these guys. Usually the pit stop for fresh intermediates, you gain loads of time. Like I said earlier, you have to rely more on the tire grip in the wet. And yeah, a tire advantage in the case of Willow over Daniel, that's 17 laps. Should be massive. But it doesn't seem that way. Gap to leader, we can open up again. 16, okay, it is coming down quite quickly now. So it seems like maybe they're hitting a cliff now at the front. But there isn't many laps to go. It's a very short lap as well around here. Oh, my controller has run out of battery. Let me quickly... Okay, we're back. Thankfully, we weren't in like some sort of battle at that moment. And Morge actually has lost quite a bit of time to Willow at this point. 1.8 seconds, they had a 3-lap tire advantage in favor of Willow, yeah. Making the difference there. Morgan Edwards doing a very good job there as well in 6th position. He's got a time penalty of 3 seconds, which right now will not affect his finishing position. Mafio in behind with a penalty as well. And Liam Doherty with over 3 seconds back. But yeah, Liam and Morgan are going to be battling over that 6th place with the time penalty. And Lumi as well could be a factor for Morgan. As Liam moves past him, moves past Mafio. And Lumi is going to follow through quite soon as well, I think. Oh, Morgan Harspan, says Liam. Okay, thank you. That's where the gaps come from. I thought maybe Willow's just kind of outpacing him, but nah. It would have actually, yeah, it does make more sense away, because it doesn't seem like the tire difference is that big on the intermediates here. Lumi now with a good run on Mafio. And he moves up into 8th position. Gap between Willow and Lars still coming down quite nicely. 2.5 seconds, 5 laps to go. And Lars is going to have a a tough job to do to hold on to that third place. Penalty for RS7 James in 12th position. 3 seconds added to his final race time. And we're gonna have Lumi and Liam battle over 7th. But they are gonna have to worry about Morgan's 3 seconds as well. So they can't battle too hard. Otherwise they will both lose out to Morgan. Willow now 1.7 back from last. He's gaining very, very quickly. So it might be more of a case for Lars of trying to hold on to 4th rather than 3rd, because I think it might be a lost fight against Willow. The Slayer advantage for the EVR driver just a bit too big here. And I would say next lap Willow will be right on the back of Lars right around this time, so lap 34 is I think where we'll start to see more of a battle begin here. Yeah, just over a second back as we enter lap 32. He would be in DRS range now if there was DRS. And that is the thing that plays in Lars' favor. No DRS here that Willow can use to get around him, but a massive grip advantage, which he will be certainly making use of. You can see it under braking how much closer he moves in to the back of that NLR driver. Just how much later he's able to brake. We've got Lumi on the back of Liam still, but he has like a lot of corrections exiting turn 3 there. They are both gaining on Morgan, so Morgan could drop to 8th place there with that 3 second time penalty. But we're gonna watch this battle for 3rd place. Lars against Willow, NLR against EVR. And without doing the math, I am fairly certain NLR have not won a title today. I think we can put that down as a no. Of course, we do have the Mexican Grand Prix next week, and that could be NLR's chance to do so. And now, like I said, Willow all over the back of Lars. Exactly, I said exactly right here a lap ago that he would be all over the back of him in a lap. So once again, showing my wheel knowledge. And now Lars needs to try and hold on for 3 more laps against Willow here. And that's going to be quite a tough job. There comes Willow. To the outside. Lars squeezing him a little bit under brakes. And Willow with a beautiful switchback. And there's absolutely nothing Lars can do about that. The grip advantage simply too big. And Willow moves past him. That's the podium gone for Lars. And that was, yeah, an impossible possible fight for him. He tried his best, but it was only enough really for one braking zone of the fence, and the exit Willow just drove past him like it didn't exist. And Morsh is going to be the next one, putting the pressure on Lars. 7.8 from Willow to Daniel. I think that's a bit too big there with only 3 laps to go. So yeah, Daniel and Daniel Lorente in 2nd place should be safe. Liam and Lumi have actually caught right up to the back of Morgan here, so that 3 second penalty is definitely going to lose him 2 places. And maybe more. Not sure. I don't think Toby, he's 4.7 back from Lumi right now. My math is correct. So yeah, he's over 5 seconds back from Morgan, and he's got Maffio between him as well. And he doesn't even have a tyre advantage over Morgan, so tough job for him to try and get ahead of Morgan's penalty range as well. But still, it's possible. More time penalties coming in at the back of the field there. And at the end of this lap, Morph is going to have close the gap to Lars. So 2 laps, lap 35 and lap 36 for Morph to move up into 4th place still. Toby and Maffio are now battling over 9th, and Toby with the tyre advantage he has, of course, leaves the EVR driver for dead. 14 lap tyre advantage. We all knew how that was going to end. And then we go back to the fight for 4th position. The gap between Willow and Lars, he only passed him like a lap ago, and it's already opened up to 2 seconds. We're on to lap 35. 3 second time penalty for Liam there, and that, well, once again, well, it wins the fight for Lumi and opens up a fight for Morgan against Liam. Lumi is now essentially already secured 6th place if he just stays where he is. Oh, and Lars with a rear lock into turn 3. And Morsch closes right up to the back of him. And he could now be close enough for a move on the NLR driver. Has he got a run into turn 4? Lars covering the middle of the track, moves back to the dry line. Morsch sends it under brakes. Makes a bit of contact on the apex there. Lars is going to try and hang it back around the outside. But, nope. It's just not possible with the tire disadvantage he has. Unless Morsch makes a mistake, Lars is invited back alongside. But he can't brake that late as that he would have needed to. Into turn 7 there. And Morsch claims 4th place. Willow has closed the gap to Daniel significantly. It's already down to 4.5 seconds. And, yeah. Oh, but he does get a 3-second time penalty now. Which, thankfully for him, he's got a big gap to Morsch. There's Morsch just a bit more time behind Lars than he did. So it will not cost him anything. He will still hold on to the podium. But yeah, I'm sure that Velox Daniel and HOT Daniel Lorente are very glad that we're now on the last lap of the race, because Willow is closing in very quickly and so is Morsch. They would not have been able to hold on to their position for much longer. As we now have Louis with a run on Morgan for 6th place. He's going to go to the outside into turn 3, which will of course be the dry line. It allows him to brake much later, try and move around the outside, but he gets a bit sideways on the exit, and I think he was tapped by Liam there, costing him the chance to make the overtake. And he now tries the inside. No, Morgan later on the brakes. Daniel trying to move around the outside. Oh, Liam, sorry. I'm not sure why I said Daniel. But Daniel, he will get him his moment now, because what a weekend it's been for him. Pole position, 10 points for Velox there, and now the race win as well. He got undercut by Morsch and Willow, I think it was at the time, and he came out about 3 seconds back, caught up to them, passed them, and then made the right strategy call of going to the end on those old intermediates, brought it home. Daniel Lorente actually crashing out of the last corner there. Not sure if that was him celebrating or if he actually crashed, but he still held on to 2nd place and has a bit more wing damage now over the line. Willow with a 3rd place, very strong race as well from him. The strategy call wasn't the right one, but he recovered from it very well with the 2nd pit stop he made to still come home to 3rd place. Morsch as well there in 5th place. Lars coming back to 5th place there after a tough race for him as well. Lumi, we're home in 6th place after the incident he had with Chriso and the wing change that he had to make. Also a good recovery drive. Morgan in 7th place, picking up valuable points for RS7. Liam just behind him in 8th place for Sierra. Toby in 9th. We've got Mafia rounding on top 10. Thomas with, well, quite a tough race as well in 11th. RS7 James, 12th. GT10 Mad Dogs. He was one of the guys who went onto the wets. I think him, Joseda, and Redmere all, well, the guys at the bottom of the points, and I think, yeah, all the guys at the bottom of the field, really, were the ones who stopped onto full wet tires, and, yeah, just not the right call. Daniel Lorente with a very deserved drive of the day, with a qualifying ban to come back to 2nd place, is a really, really impressive job, and, yeah, very deserved drive of the day award for Daniel Lorente. And, yeah, a great race from all 3 of the guys on the podium, and they very much deserve their spot up there. And while it wasn't the tightest race today, I really enjoyed watching that. There was some great driving on show, and these drivers proving why they are, yeah, representing their teams in this competition. Really, really lovely to see. And a fitting end to the European Tour of the season. And finally, well, I must say, in my personal opinion, sadly, but I think for everyone else, finally, the streak has been broken. The first race win of the season, not from NLR. It's Daniel for Velox with the race win here in Austria. And yeah, I think indeed it was Mad Dogs, Joseda, Redmere, Racing Nomia, and Chrisu who pinned onto the wets. And yeah, Racing Nomia, the only driver in the race who finished the race without points. Redmere 15th, Joseda 14th, Mad Dogs 13th. DNFs for Chrisu, Unai, 8001 and Kieran all retiring in the pit lane. And that's that. That's the full results rundown. Thank you very much for watching, for driving, for being a part of today's race. Was very, very enjoyable once again. Like I said, the esports division, so far, it has always delivered, and I would actually say today has been the worst race, but I wouldn't say that as negative, because today was still quite an enjoyable race. Yeah. And a fitting end to the European Tour. Very good driving on show from the guys, especially in the front of the field. Absolutely amazing from Daniel Rente, and Willow. The way they came from the field, the way they dominated that race, the way they secured position, you know, the way they came back from the second pit stop they made. All of those things, really, really good to see. And with that, we go into the last tour of the season. Our next race, 7 days from now, of course, on Sundays, always the Esports division. 7 p.m. UK, the Mexican Grand Prix, the first race of the Americas Tour. After that, we still have Kota and Brazil to go. And a title decider, possible next week for NLR. I have to do the math to figure out exactly what they need to win the title mathematically at Mexico. But a bit of a setback today for them. But yeah, thankfully, for us, once again, I should say for us, a bit of a setback for us. But thankfully, we've had quite a large gap. So while it's unfortunate that the streak was broken, I think we were never going to win all 10. So it's fine. I'm not too sad. I will recover from this, I'm sure. Yeah, of course, we also have other races going on in the F1 Total server. We've got Division 1 coming up on Saturday as well, 1 day before the Esports Division at Qatar. 7:30 p.m. UK start time there. And Division 2 as well doing Qatar on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. UK. And I am very glad to announce we've got our next off-season event organized a couple of weeks ago in Silverstone. Gabri told you about our F1 2020 season in Realistic Racing League, right after the end of the Esports season. And at the end of this Division 1 and Division 2 season, we're going to be doing another event on the F1 2020 game. So sign-ups will be open for that in a bit. I'm going to set up the channels and everything once I'm done with the stream. And it's going to be a season with classic cars and F2 cars. So that's going to be quite a bit of fun. Focus will be on PlayStation at first. So that's the main thing that I'm going to set up. But I will open signups to all platforms, and if we get enough drivers from PC and Xbox for a season on F1 2020, we will also be organizing that. Of course, in that case, I would need a lobby host, some organizational help from drivers on that platform. But I'm sure we can figure that out if it gets to it. But yeah, my main focus will be PlayStation, since that's where I am, and that's where most of the league is as well. So if you're interested in that, yeah, have a look on the Discord server. There will be a ping and announcement with all the information on the event in a little bit. Once I've written it up, and there will be a sign-up channel opening. So yeah, thank you very much once again for watching today's stream, and I will see you all. Well, my next stream will be on Wednesday, the Division 2 race at Qatar, and yeah, I hope to see you for that. Otherwise, I also hope to see you for the Mexican Grand Prix in the Esports Division in 7 days. Will also be commentated by me, and we'll see who joins me, if someone joins me. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, have a good evening, and goodbye.